Martin drink mix packets, should they be consumed like when they're mixed in your water bottle, in the Martin water bottle? Should they be drank like a water bottle and basically consume it in, well, less than an hour, and then consume water separately or after that? Or should you kind of drink this 320 calories over, 2 or 3 hours? So just literally just kind of sip on it, and then supplement throughout the ride with actual H2O. So again, now that we're online on the Facebook and on the YouTube, I will ask again anybody from Martin or from the feed or anybody else just happen to have information about the Martin drink mix and how to appropriately consume it. It seems to me that it's a lot to consume in an hour, 320 calories and whatever. But it's also inefficient to sip it over the course of 2 or 3 hours and then also supplement with water. And then, basically then you've only got 1 bottle of water and you're doing a little bit of this, but now you've only got basically 1, maybe 1.5 bottles of water that you can drink in a 1 or a 2 hour period before you refill. So that's baffled me, and if you have answers, I would really, really, really appreciate hearing from you, because I do not know how to appropriately consume this Martin drink. But anyhow, I have that. I've got a couple Picky bars. I've got some Enervit gels, my favorite, although this is the last one, so I've got to order more from the feed. This stuff is it's only 30. I think it's 30. They say to have 2 of these an hour, which the form factor I like. The fact that you can drink it and close it up, and smush it up and close it up, and you don't have any mess whatsoever. Put it in your pocket. That's great. But the form factor before you drink it is really, really bulky, and you can only fit like maximum with 2 of these in a 100-mile ride, and therefore it's not as efficient. I would eat more of these if there was a better way to, if I could fit more of them in my pocket. But I've got those. I have 1 white Martin gel and 1 or 2. I think I've got 2 black Martin gels as well. So I've got plenty of nutrition. The reason I'm sharing all of that, and the reason why I started by filling my water bottle with the Martin drink mix, is because let's walk up. I'm going to walk up to the screen. You can take a look at what's up there above me right now. My workout for today. It's called BASECAMP Progressive Endurance with Power Surges. And look right here. It is a 3-hour training ride. I would have started riding an hour and a half ago if I wasn't procrastinating, because I am not looking forward to riding on the trainer for 3 freaking hours. That being said, before I get going, that sounded kind of weird, didn't it? I just realized that I had moved one of my Wahoo Kicker fans. I am not looking forward to a 3-hour ride. I don't enjoy 3-hour rides on the trainer. I really don't enjoy 3-hour solo rides anyhow, although I do them more often now than I have been in the past. But the reality of it is the thing that separates the guys in the front of the pack from the rest of us. The guys that separate the pros from the guys in the front of the pack. The guys that separate, the elite lifelong athletes from just the average everyday dude is the understanding and the willingness to put yourself through 3 hours of torture on a trainer in the winter, not because you enjoy it, not because it's fun, not because of, well, anything else other than the fact that by riding for 3 hours on the trainer inside in the winter, you understand, I'm coming to understand, that you're going to benefit from it during the season. And so you're not doing it for the enjoyment of this particular ride, but you're doing it because you're looking forward to, you desire the benefits that you get from the ride, and therefore you're willing to do the things that a lot of people that, well, frankly, me, just a couple hours ago when I didn't start the ride, you're willing to do the things that most people aren't willing to do, and therefore you get the results that most people aren't ever going to be able to gain. So I am doing this workout. I'm going to do it in erg mode because, number one, I'm not going to be able to think for 3 hours. Number two, I don't want to think for 3 hours. And chances are on this workout, while I haven't looked at what the power is, I would probably ride too hard. So I'm going to do it in erg mode, which means that I don't have to think about it. I would tend to probably want to ride harder, ride faster to get it done quicker, because generally when we're riding, there's a distance component to it. But as a training ride, there is no distance component. It's how much time you're willing to put in the put into your training. So we'll see here. I've got the warm up. I've got the 3 fast pedals. Then I have basically 6:55 at 1:45, and then I don't know what these brakes are. It doesn't really say. I guess we'll see it when I get into the workout. I'm thinking these brakes, there's probably a power surge in there, which is why it's called with power surges. So this is probably, I don't know, 225 or 250, maybe something in there. And then 80 minutes at 150, 55 minutes at 160, and then a cool down. So this is going to be a long and freaking monotonous ride today. Where am I going to ride? Not in a 3.7 mile route. I did a lot of climbing yesterday. Richmond doesn't have any flat routes. You know, this one here in Watopia is 12 miles long. Yeah, it's not a climbing day, it's a steady day, so that'll be the route I'm going to ride. So, yeah, I can't put it up anymore. I'm going to hit the button. I am going to walk back over here and clip in while the ride is loading. I think I'm going to clip in. There we go. And, oh, sorry, I didn't take these glasses off. Oh, I did want to look at one other thing before I begin this workout ride. Not because I'm delaying or oh, I see how that works. All right. right, so I must have just been mousing over this the other day. All right, so I guess that's what I'm going to do. Take my glasses off. I'm going to just start pedaling here because otherwise I'm just never going to get going. I may play a little bit with the second camera angle and just kind of see how it works or what it does or whatever. For those of you who watched the video yesterday, you'll know that my knee was hurting at the beginning of the day, that I was planning on wearing regular shoes, because for the last few days now, almost a week, I have been able to put bike shoes back on to my post-surgery feet. And so I was having severe near knee pain on the left side, and I put on regular shoes, the shoes I had been wearing for training. And when I started the video yesterday and started talking and was explaining that I had on regular shoes, I realized that I had my speed plate pedals on the bike. So I took off my regular shoes. I put on a second pair of cycling shoes, which I hadn't been able to get on before yesterday, but I painfully squeezed my foot into them, and my knee didn't hurt any more yesterday after the ride than it did before. And so I'm taking that as maybe something to mean that the position of these cleats, or the fact that the float is a little bit bigger, is a positive thing. So at least that's what I'm hoping, because obviously I don't want to have any injuries. So anyhow, as I was talking about the Martin drink, since I don't know how you're supposed to really take it, if you're supposed to drink it like a bottle of water or just sip on it, which doesn't really seem like it works, especially for a long ride, because it reduces your capacity to carry water if you're supposed to drink that over 2 or 3 hours. But when I'm inside, I've got virtually unlimited access to virtually unlimited quantities of water. But at least right here, I've got 3 plus 3 backup bottles. So, so it's like 120 ounces of water right here without ever having to get off the bike. Unless I happen to knock some of them off the Ceres bike table and then can't reach them. But all right, so yesterday's workout was not easy, but I will tell you it was fun. I actually might be one of my favorite workouts. Longer, sustained tempo efforts. And even though my FTP was plus 11 from last time we tested, I wasn't looking forward to it. I wasn't sure if I was going to be able to finish it, but I just get into a zone in those tempo rides and can just go. So I did it. Afterwards, I had a secondary workout that I was supposed to do, but I just chose to finish the climb that we were on yesterday. and then ride all the way down. And between those two, my extra 45-minute workout time was up. So they were combined. I didn't get an answer from Amber as a review of the workout. I don't know if that means that she was upset that I combined them and worked a little harder than what was prescribed for the secondary workout, or if it was just a, oh yeah, I figured you'd do that. All right, now I gotta pay attention because I got 3 fast pedals, which means I gotta pedal fast 3 times. Slow. Hey, I'm Joe White, and I'm whispering to you. D. Armstrong said, right on. Whew. Let me tell you what. I tell you what. Let me tell you what. Tim Cusack said, right on. Use a spin now. Oh, man. Be back. Said right on. All these people that request these shout outs by going ahead and giving me a ride on by logging into ZWIFT, finding me on there and giving me the thumbs up, the ride on. And then I call them out. Give me a shout out right here, live in front of the entire world, because they want everyone to know that middle-aged men like to rock. Whew, this 45 seconds is taking forever. All right, coming up next, 4 times 655 at 145? And then, does that say C? 20 seconds at 345? Whew. Yeah. All right. Well, that should be fun. 7 minutes. S. Bailey says, right on. Thanks for joining the crew here on this here video. Whew. So, 7 minutes, 6 minutes and 55 seconds is probably almost enough time to recover between 20 seconds at 345 watts. We'll find out here in about 7 minutes. I am not sure that I can actually do 345 watts sitting down. And I don't know if I'm allowed to stand up. But you know what I am allowed to do? Turn on my Knox Gear 39G Bluetooth sports speaker and microphone, which is then connected by a wire and a 3.5 millimeter plug, because if I played music that you could hear, the internet gods would come down on me and strike me with a thunderbolt. Because they think that you don't deserve to listen to good music on a video. Wow, am I reading that right? Man, we got a ton of people on Twitch right now. Everybody must want to watch this here middle-aged man in Lycra, the American mammal. That's me. All right, now I gotta pull out my rusty, trusty Samsung Fold or Flip, or I don't know what it's called. All right, tunage. I will not sing for you. I've watched some of the videos where I thought maybe that'd be entertaining, but it's really just annoying. Seeing a middle-aged guy in Lycra on a bike trying to sing with the music in my ear, but you can't even hear like the background supporting music. It's disgusting. Yeah, it's not going to be very long before I manually adjust one or both of these Wahoo Kicker fans, because I'm already starting to heat up. What I should do is I should get an anemometer and measure the wind speed coming off of those to figure out how to more accurately set the automatic settings, because I promise you that what's coming off the fan right now is not 20 miles an hour. So Yeah, I don't know. I didn't see who that was. Who just gave me a ride on. I probably should have switched my wheels for today's ride. Then I could have gone faster on this flat course. Instead, I'm riding on these ZWIFT 202s, of which I have a set in my garage. Actually, I can't see what kind of bike that is I'm riding. Yeah, this bike actually has rim brakes on it. Well, that's interesting. I wonder if that's ZWIFT telling us that we're already transitioning away from disc brakes on road bikes. I don't know. Maybe not. Well, I have no facial expressions whatsoever, do I, while I'm riding? I'm just sitting there all stoic. My avatar, I mean. Well, for you it's up there. Right there, that guy. Looks like I already got a pocket full of thumbs up though. Rides on. Ride-ons? Whatever. Alright, so that first surge is coming up here in 16 seconds. So, I guess I'll try it sitting down. I'm gonna pre-surge my cadence. Although I probably got us slowing our cadence down. Nope. Wasn't as bad as I thought. In fact, I don't even know if I physically, well, they've got me speeding up my cadence. So I don't think I could do that standing up. But now I have 6.5 minutes to catch my breath before I do that again. Whew. I don't know if these surges are literally just to break up the monotony. It didn't suck. But then we got a lot of monotony after it. So they say that we're about to get hit by a major winter storm. I guess the closer it gets, the more right they will be about their forecasting. Originally they were saying like 2 to 20 inches possible. We could get smacked with snow. And then they dropped it last night. And now this morning they're saying, yeah, probably about 9. And originally they were saying we were going to have a lot of rain and then freezing rain, and now they're like, yeah, the freezing rain is going to be south of you. You're going to get smacked with some snow, about 9 inches. Which, unless the whole thing takes a drastic turn to the left and heads north, I don't know if it pushes further south, if that helps us at all. Like, I don't know how far over the lake or into Canada it goes. Speaking of Canada, the Great White North, how about them truckers, eh? Rock on. I don't know what happened in Manitoba. A bunch of truckers were blocking the, they stopped in the road because obviously they can't get through across the border without a vaccination card because of the mandates. And so they basically all stopped there in the road and said, well, I guess I'll wait here until I have that vaccination card. And the last I heard last night was that the Royal Canadian Mounted Police, who are no longer mounted, well, they might mount each other, I don't know, that they were threatening to arrest a couple thousand truck drivers, which I don't know if that really does a whole lot, because how are they going to get the trucks off the road once they arrest those truck drivers? And where are they going to put them too, right? The people. Like they don't have that many, that much space in their jails. But whatever. We stand with you and against tyranny of all forms in all countries, no matter where it be. TDE. Castro says right on. Thank you. So, yeah, these 6 or 7 by 20s actually ain't bad. Kind of wish there were more than 4 of them so I could break up that 80-minute block a little bit more. But I can't. That's why I'm in erg mode, so that I don't get to make those decisions. So sip, sip, sip is what I'm going to do. And then I'm going to fill in with water. I'm going to make this Martin bottle last as much of the 3 hours as I can. By just taking sips every, I don't know, 15 minutes or so. That was 23. But I could do every quarter hour on my event clock, because that'll make it easier for me to track it. Man, look at that group. They'll catch up with me. Maybe I can come out of erg mode and ride with them for a little bit. But it's probably going to be too early in my ride to do that. The last segment, maybe I could pick it up a little bit more. I gotta stay focused and do what I'm told. Because that's what I do. I do what I'm told. Because I believe in the process. Wow. I did not spin that up enough ahead of time. Holy crap. All right. PV. So now you see what I see. Or we all see what I would be seeing if I was actually on the bike. Although my field of view, my peripheral vision, a little wider than that. Man, yeah, that gets my heart rate up a bit. And look how gradually it comes down afterwards. Yeah, I'm feeling that quite a bit. So, on a trainer, your trainer is basically locked into the floor, right? Where a real bike kind of moves with your motion. The kinetic energy of your side-to-side motion, even some of your fore and aft, well, all of it ultimately, is absorbed by the wheels and transferred to, the earth, right? Where in a trainer, you're locked in. It doesn't really move side to side or fore and aft. So, because of that, the micro movements end up getting translated on a more harsh basis to your connection points, to your hands, to your feet, and to your butt. And so specifically because of that, in the winter, my chamois game comes into a higher consideration than it does during the season. And so I'm not saying I don't wear bigger padding because we know that's counterproductive. That harms you more than it helps you. But I wear different shape and different sized chamois in different shorts throughout a week of training. At least a little bit of it is tied to what my training session looks like or how long it is. But yeah, it's critical to have some extremely high quality shorts, bibs, whatever, with top of the line chamois without any broken down fibers or foam or whatever they use in them for the winter time, because, well, you need it more on a trainer than you do on a bike. We know you need it on a bike, but I actually have some shorts that have the, I have some tri shorts that have very little chamois. Like there's actually like almost no padding whatsoever, right? Because they're designed that you can, at the very least, ride and run in the same shorts. So you can't have a lot of bulk because that would interfere with your ability to run. But you need some padding there to make it better on a bike. Hey Dave. What's going on? Oh, you heard back? Oh. Alright, so the search continues. That's interesting. Did they give you any indication as to why? I see. Gotcha. All right, well, I am 30 minutes into a 3-hour training ride. So can I give you a call after lunch? All right. Bye. .50 minutes, 50 seconds until the third surge. Definitely attack that one better. Whew. Yeah. I'm definitely starting to feel it a little bit. Between yesterday's ride, between the FTP test and the endurance ride on Sunday, day off Monday, and then the tempo ride yesterday, low cadence tempo. It's definitely starting to build up in my muscles. Gonna have to give it a good massage session. Got a couple hyper ice massagers. Although I can't really get my hamstrings, like the area right down here, very well with those. But I just have one of those long vibrating back ones, like Panasonic or I don't know, somebody like that. Blah, I don't know, Braun maybe. That seems to do okay, but it takes a really long time. Like the HyperIce ones, like 3 or 4 minutes is all you need. But that other one, like for my hammies, and I actually like to hit my IT bands with that as well. And because the HyperIce thing is too aggressive, but it takes a really long time because you can't really dig in like that with the Braun or the Panasonic, whatever brand it is. So I gotta really kind of gently work it. And there are places where you put it and you're like, oh, I want it right there. But if you leave it there, you don't have the same effect. So you gotta kind of move it around quite a bit. And unfortunately, if you're doing that for 20 or 30 minutes, it's easy then to get an ache in your back or in your shoulder based on how you're holding it. So the truth of the matter, the best scenario would be to go and get my legs rubbed down every day after my workouts. But I've been to some of the more prominent massage places here in town, and they just don't get it. It's like they're really good at giving, like, you know, relaxation massages, but they're not really good with sports or like medical type massages. And so when I go in, I say, I literally want you to start at my feet, and you could spend an entire hour just on my feet and I wouldn't be pissed. But if you feel that you're done with my feet, you can move up to my calves and even my quads and hammies. And they always give you a weird look like, oh, well, I'm gonna start with your shoulders. I mean, my shoulders need it, but it's not why I'm fucking here. Whatever. They're nice enough people at Lakewood Massive Therapy, but not good listeners. And it's not cheap. It's, I don't know, 100 and something a day. So, in Miami, I could just go to Jaguar, and I literally can just walk into Jaguar, and they look at you as you're walking in. And they say, oh, here, let's do this. And it can literally be anything and everything. From, oh, let's start you out with some ice and compression and the game ready, and then let's put you in some compression sleeves, and then when you're done with that, here, well, before it was Dr. John, it's Dr. John's, the chiropractor who was there, who's back up in, I don't know if it's Philadelphia or Pittsburgh, but he was good. And he can do an adjustment on wherever it's needed, but he can also do dry needling. He can do the acupuncture, or the acupuncture with e-stim, the acupuncture with heat. He can do the, I mean, he's done all these things to me. Cupping, which a lot of times around, like just above the knees over here, on the hips, and then between my shoulder blades. Whoa, fuck, I was not paying attention, damn it. This is why I'm in erg mode, because I can't even pay attention for 6 minutes. Wow, that one sucked. That just fucking hit me. Well, the good news is there was no anxiety leading up to it. Bad news is now I'm beating myself up afterwards. My heart responded the same way. And then they're like, yeah, after Dr. Johns is done, then the physios will come and be like, let's do some grafting, let's do some rolling. They've got these like 50-pound rollers where you're on the table and they'll roll it on, like putting that on your quads, like my quads right now, holy shit, I'd be screaming. But it works so well. Like, they wouldn't be able to put the 50-pound ones on my legs. Maybe 20. And then they just roll them out. And it's like you can just feel like the hard parts of the muscle as it's rolling over them and they're popping. And then when they find them and they set it there, and then you just feel it release and it's like, whoa. And then they do like the specific cryotherapy afterwards, where they take the cryo gun and they freaking freeze whatever areas need it, and you walk out of there feeling like $1,000,000. But we don't have something like that here in Cleveland. Jaguar therapy. I typically go to the one in the Grove because, let's face it, that's where most of the rides start and end, right? But they've also got one down in, I don't know if that's in Kendall or Pinecrest right there. I think it's Pinecrest. It's actually right across the street from Pinecrest City Hall. And then there's one like up in Aventura or something, I don't know. We got a few of them. Oh, I guess I'm already into my 80 minutes now. So generally when it says 88 RPM in the notes, she writes self-selected or SS cadence. I'm assuming that's the case here. But as it turns out, I'm pretty much right around 88, aren't I? Right now. In a little bit, probably in about 15 minutes, I'll check my glucose levels, because I do not have a Super Sapiens sensor, because those are not approved in the US by the FDA, even though I'm not using it as a medical device. And I would never buy them when I'm in Europe and bring them home with me. That just wouldn't be right, right? So, right now, and for the next 2 months, actually, wow, that sucks. Pretty much the rest of the winter season, I have enough of these RFID ones, or the NF, whatever it is, NFC. So I will be, I'll be doing that and manually checking it. It's not as accurate is not the right word. It's not as specific, because it's not taking readings every 30 seconds or a minute. And instead, it's storing bits of data every 15 minutes onto the device itself, and then offloading it when it touches the phone. So it kind of gives you a 15-minute snapshot, but does not specifically show you the Super Sapiens ones, which, by the way, is made by the same company. It's the same exact device. It's just that it has a Bluetooth radio in it instead of an NFC radio. And that means that it has to go through a whole separate approval process. But nonetheless, the Super Sapiens one will show you on your bike computer what it's doing every 20 seconds. And so you can actually see as your glucose level is going up with an effort, and then when it starts to go down or when it levels off. And so you know exactly what your number is and when you need to start fueling to maintain a more consistent level of glucose, because that's what your body's using for performance. And so you can use it in, the pros aren't allowed to use it when they race, but they all train with them. And so they literally use it, and they can associate how they're feeling physiologically with the meter. And so they can start to pick up cues on when it's time earlier on to start fueling, or to refuel, or to hydrate, or whatever. And so they can figure out very specifically how to keep the right fuel in their system, how long it lasts, how much they need, and all that. So they can avoid a lot of negative repercussions that all of us, F. Batten says, right on. When we either don't eat enough and end up bonking, or we eat too much and it causes us to spike and then crash, or we wait too long in between our nutrating, or we nutrate too quickly. And the repercussions can be, as simple as, bonking and not being able to finish your ride, or as extensive. I've been out for 2 weeks before, just over 2 weeks, with intense intestinal complications as a result of the stress I'm putting on my system with some of these rides, and how and what I'm using to fuel during those rides. And it all has a cost on your gastric system, right? Plus, the water we're drinking on those rides, who knows where it comes from, right? Some of those places where you refuel, you know, they could be, who knows. Your body's probably not used to the bacteria that's in the water, and therefore that causes part of the problem. D. McDaniels. Is that the D. McDaniels right there on the screen? I think it is. Huh. I'm getting those dropouts again. I think that's the first one, and it was a couple minutes ago, but don't know what that's about. Hi. I'm a little smaller in this camera, aren't I? And you're down there, so I actually didn't lower the monitor that I'm looking at as low as I had it yesterday or 2 days ago, I don't know. Where it's like a more natural for me to be looking here, which is right at that camera. And so my intention is that I'll use that one, but you can see the top of my head is already cut off. And because of the angle of that camera, if I move it up anymore, I'm off the upper edge of my green screen. So, I don't know. I gotta think about it. Oh, I'm kinda, that's weird. JM Trimlo says, right on. I'm really just making these last names up because I can't read them. And I certainly can't like focus for long enough to try to read it before they disappear. So when I completely destroy your name, I apologize ahead of time. Hey. So my season is starting to come together because I've started to think about it, because it seems like, I don't know, all the rides are now opening up their registrations in January, which honestly kind of sucks. I mean, I guess it's B. Bradcliffe, J. Bradcliffe says, right on. Because as people are starting to think about their planning and whatever, but there's a lot of times where in January you're like, well, it depends on a lot of factors, right? But it looks like in March I'm going to be in San Antonio, Florida to ride the Grand Fondo National Series race, which is kind of like just a Grand Fondo, a sportive with a race component, in that there are, I think it's 4, there's maybe 5, about 5-mile segments on the course, timed segments. And so you get timing chips and, you know, all that. And and then you're scored based on the results of those 5 segments, regardless, literally without regard to how much time it takes you to to travel between them. And so a little bit of strategy is involved. Number one, you want to perform well on a 5-mile long segment, right? And it's actually a hilly part of Florida. The Cross Florida race goes through there a couple weeks later, or about a month later, actually. But yeah, so you want to make sure that you maximize your results during those segments, but then you don't wear yourself out between segments, right? So if there's 4 of them, say for an example, let's say the first one's at, I'm just guessing, 10 miles in, and then a 5-mile segment, and then probably 15 minutes to the next 5-minute segment, and then 15 miles to the next 5-mile, and then 15, like, and maybe 20 miles in between, but whatever. Yeah, every 20 miles. But whatever. So there's some strategy that I'm obviously not good with, but try to figure that out. The times I've done this ride in San Antonio in the past, I've literally just done it as a training ride for Cross Florida, because you're riding those same hills once you get to mile 120 of Cross Florida. So, yeah. But that's March. April, I think I'm going to do another Gran Fondo event. Gran Fondo National Series event in Butler, New Jersey, which is a little more hilly, but not too bad. May, as of right now, there's nothing. In April, by the way, if I don't do that GNFS ride, there's actually a pretty cool Bike MS event from Richmond, Virginia down to Colonial Williamsburg and back. So, I mean, that just might be fun to just do. I don't know. But, oh no, I'm sorry. That's not April. So, March is the Florida event. April is in Helen, Georgia, which is, I haven't looked at the route, but it's like 8,000 or 10,000 feet of climbing. It's a freaking bear. It's a lot of work. Same concept, time segments through there. Those time segments are absolutely all going to be on some of the more challenging climbs. And generally, when climbing, I'm just in survival mode. So that's it. That's March, that's April. May, there's nothing. June is the Butler event. And on that same weekend is the ride in Virginia. But that's also around the same time as when I usually go to do a training camp in Colorado. And I think that the training camp would probably benefit me more. So if they conflict, I go to Boulder, not to New Jersey. And then I haven't signed up for Horsey 100, and they're capping it at 800 people, which is why I didn't sign up. I don't know, maybe I'll go do that. It's probably 5,000 or 6,000 feet of climbing. Generally a fun route. Really friendly people down there in Georgetown, Kentucky. So that's a possibility. But then, so does it take us into June? I think it was in June. Might be the end of June. Well, no, that was June. Nothing in May, that was June. So then the end of June, the very last weekend, is a Bike MS event from Toledo, Ohio to Port Clinton, Ohio and back, which I've never done that before. 100 miles each day. So that makes me think that there are some more serious cyclists that ride. So we'll see. And then that takes us to July. Then we have the Pan Ohio Hope Ride, which is 4 days riding down the state of Ohio. It starts on the shores of Lake Erie and rides all the way down to the banks of the Ohio River in Cincinnati. And that is the most well-supported, best organized food, meals-wise, of any ride that I have ever done. And a really good group of people. So if you're looking for a ride in July, I highly, strongly, specifically recommend the Pan Ohio Hope Ride. Then, it usually is the following weekend after the Pan Ohio is the Bike MS ride, but they have changed the date, pushed it back a week, and they've brought back the original course. So when I was, 18 years old, that's a long time ago, I rode my first Bike MS event. Back when it was probably one of the first, it was definitely one of the only Fondo events that existed, right? And there were literally thousands of people in Cleveland that would do this. And it rode from the Berea Fairgrounds. I rode with Deli. So if you know Mike Dela Cruz, tell him to Dunka for me. It went, hang on a second. So it went from there all the way to Cedar Point in Sandusky. And it was called Pedal to the Point because you were riding to Cedar Point, and you literally got a ticket to Cedar Point. When you got there, you could go to Cedar Point for the afternoon, evening, whatever. So that was always really, really cool. Well, the last several years, they had changed it for whatever political reason. And it was going down to Ashland, which, it's a nice ride, but there ain't nothing in Ashland. It's like, why? And, surprise, surprise, ridership dropped way off. Well, this year, they're back with a ride to Cedar Point. So, I'm probably going to do it just for that fact. Because, you know, Cedar Point. And the nostalgia of, hey, I did this more than 30 years ago. So that's like the, I don't know, first or second week of August. Oh, I didn't mention the Sunday before Pan Ohio Hope Ride in July. So Pan Ohio starts on a Thursday. On that Sunday beforehand is the Gran Fondo National Series, the GFNS National Championship, which is in Asheville, North Carolina. So again, like the Helen, Georgia one, lots of climbing, extremely challenging. So I'm thinking I'm gonna go do basically the first 4 Gran Fondo National Series events, the 4th one being the championship. Who knows? Maybe I'll learn something in doing those intermediate sprints throughout the ride and getting timed and competing. I don't know if anything will come of it, but it will, I know I will learn a lot about pacing and planning and staying focused during the course of a ride, unlike I can do on a trainer ride, as you can see. And so, yeah. So I don't know, we'll see how that comes together. Other than that, later in August, I don't think there's really anything on my schedule as of now. Or September, the end of September, I may go do 6 Gap, I don't know. Got family down there, so maybe. I mean, if I keep riding through August, like what typically happens, right? You get to the end of these events, like especially the big bulk of them in July, and then you're like, ah. And when you're in your prime condition physically, I take a break because I earned it, and lose a lot of that fitness before September comes, and I'm like, oh crap, winter's coming. I gotta preserve my time in the saddle out on the road. Hop back on the bike, regain a little bit of that fitness, but you've already lost it. So then you're in a situation like I am right now, which part of this is my lack of fitness was planned due to that surgery. But then you end up working all winter to regain it all, which my coach pointed out I'm only, I think she said 3 or 4 watts lower than my high test last year, which was in September. But again, that test was after taking most of August pretty much off the bike, a few group rides, and that was really about it. So I did lose a lot of my fitness. This year, I do intend on fitting a test into my season somewhere, probably at the very minimum at the beginning of July, so sometime after my training camp in Boulder. May or may not, I may or may not do Tulsa Tough. I haven't looked at the dates. They just opened registration yesterday. Last year, I only did it because it was on my way from Colorado back home. And it was a fun event, but it wasn't one of those, oh, you gotta do that every year events. So we'll see. So I will probably do a little bit of, it's not called tapering anymore, but do a little bit of a recovery week after Boulder, and then test again that following week, and then test again at the end of July, probably that weekend between Pan, Ohio and that MS ride, Puddle to the Point. So yeah, that would actually, I'm gonna plan on putting that in my calendar now. Because that's probably when I'll be in my, close to, if not my actual peak fitness of the year. And then if I wanted to test again at the end of August, I could do that again too. Help me stay motivated to keep riding. And like I said, there will surely be a couple extra rides that'll pop up in August. And I'll filter in some group rides with the Lake Erie Wheelers. And depending on my fitness level, maybe Bonnie Park. I don't know, we'll see. When that stuff starts tasting good, it's probably a warning sign. So the good news is I really haven't hit a wall or a hard one. We're on Sunday, pretty much at 1 hour and at 2 hours, both have lifts. There have been points where my energy has definitely dipped. All right, so I'm gonna have a piggy bars. P. Smith, F. Smith says, right on. Al Schultz from BASECAMP says, right on. Sooth. Interesting. I've been riding on a 7% grade this whole time. T. Olson says right on. Jay Schuenbacher says right on. Schmuckow, Shermwow, Jay Schwow. I can't read that. Whatever. Sorry for destroying your name. But thanks for the right on. I gotta adjust my butt for a little bit. Jay says, right on. K. Muchlander says, right on. Jay Nichols said, right on. Thanks for the thumbs up. I'm happy to give you a shout out. Anybody who comes on to ZWIFT and looks up behind, in parentheses, BASECAMP. That behind, because there are multiple of us. Give me a thumbs up, a right on, and I'll give you a shout out. Live in front of literally ones of people on the internet. A global audience of single digits. Not everybody can say that. Carl Rico says, right on. Dot Carl Rico. Thanks. Oh, look at this. Maybe it's time. I'll bet you I can stay pretty close to my appropriate pace in this pack. Maybe. I don't need to be moving up. I'm probably not getting any benefit off the draft though. E. Newton says right on. R. Nordy says right on. So I'm consuming carbs at about the pace that I'm burning them. But I'm, well, consuming and creating them in my liver. So, probably ultimately means I'm not having enough, but the research seems to indicate, or at least for me, from my practical experience, that between 150 to 120 to 150 is a pretty good number. And honestly, if I could keep it at 120, I'd be awesome on an endurance ride. How to do that, though, is a trick. And I could literally spend all winter just riding endurance, changing different fueling methods to find a way to do it. I don't want to ride 3 to 5 hours every day at an endurance pace, but it would be a valuable B. Pulkheimer Putkheimer says right on. Theo says right on. Tim says right on. Our bridger says right on. P. Floyd says, right on. That's right, P. Floyd. T. Armstrong says, right on. Jay Strand says, right on. Tracked out again. J. Pork Woukout says right on. Time to give my butt a break. Got about a half hour, 38 minutes left. Took you that long, really? Freaking fans. No way. I'm not going to the Epic Calm. Just doing an extra circle here.
B. Collins from BASECAMP says, right on. M. Saliva. Saliva? Said right on. B. Larson from Basecamp says right on. Bell is in front of me. My bell. And Z golfer. She's a golfer. It's a golfer. If I kill all the golfers, there won't be anyone left to play. The golfers, not the golfers. C. Cisco says right on. Damn it. Maybe it's time to go back to a chest strap. I've got a couple laying around here. 4 or 5 of them, to be specific. Jay Holmes said, right on. Edelweiss says right on. So we got 11:14 left. And we're going 169, 170, so it's a pretty good average. 95 is our cadence. Interesting, in this last one, it doesn't even say what the cadence should be. The last one is 88. Alexa, how many miles is 100K?
Here's something I found on the web. According to Travelog.com, the 100K for advanced cyclists is a 62-mile ride, features a comprehensive tour of North Tulsa, or choose the shorter 50K or 25K with a similar routes.
But 62 point what?
Playing 162 from Sirius XM.
Alexa, stop. You don't know how to freaking listen. D. Burke says, right on. Right back at you, D. Arias says, right on. Lugar La, or Lugar Lee said, right on. M. Furler says, right on. M. Nolan said, right on. Less than 1 minute left. Now's the time to push it. So Delaga says right out. J. King. Man, that'd be gorgeous if that were in real life, wouldn't it? All that waterfall over there. Oh, man. Well, I have to tell you that I'm proud of myself for surviving that. Now, it wasn't a lot of work. It wasn't a lot of effort. Well, we'll look, but just 3 hours in the saddle on a trainer. This is a long freaking time. And I was able to keep myself from thinking about it too much. Really spent more time inside my head, spent more time focusing on these first two events of the winter, which of the spring season. That one in San Antonio, and then the next one in Helen. San Antonio is like 2,700 feet of climbing. Obviously nothing aggressive, just a lot of rolling hills. And figuring out my pacing through there so that I can maximize my time in the timing zones in the segments on the course, because that's how they determine the winner. That's number one. And then the second one in Georgia, it's like 8,000 feet or something. T. Ryiska says, right on. And that is going to be a challenge. I'm not a great climber. I'm not as bad as I used to be, but I'm still, especially some of those climbs are really, they're both long and steep up around that whole area in the North Georgia mountains. That's the same roads that Six Gap is on, and this event and a couple others. There actually used to be a pro race there for a long time. Back in like the 80s and maybe the 90s. Okay, so 156 watt average, 60, more than 100K, 2 hours, 59 minutes, 5.6 slices of pie. I may need to get some pizza today. 1608 calories and 153 TSS. So I don't need any more Myloonies. I don't need any more time. I'm over 3 hours. I don't need any more calories. Although I will tell you from an energetic standpoint, I don't really feel all that wiped out. I mean, obviously it wasn't a huge effort, right? But I mean, from a fueling perspective, I drank that whole bag of mix, 320 calories, I think 60 grams of caffeine, or I don't know. But I drank that. I sipped that over, basically over 15 minutes is what I tried to do. And then I ate a protein bar, which has a little bit of carbs, but it's mostly protein and a little bit of fat, but not a lot, so that it's easy to digest. And that kind of seemed to work. So maybe there's something to that, but again, I'm not sure how that works on a bike, right? So for the Gran Fondo thing, obviously the water stops aren't in the middle of a segment, and I would hope that they're smart enough not to put them just before a segment. But you want to hit each segment well fueled and hydrated. And if you can't add, if you've only got one bottle plus this, how do you do that? So that's my conundrum. If this works to sip it every 15 minutes and keep your glucose levels pretty, I mean, it looks like they were mostly pretty level, not necessarily high enough, but I could have supplemented some other stuff to bring them up. I'm not going to have enough water to hydrate. I'd have to stop more often, basically. And, for whatever that's worth. So, again, if there's anybody from Martin that happens to see this video, or if any of you folks from the feed have some insight into how to use these Martin packs. I get scientifically how they developed them, but how should you consume them? And how do you best do that on a basically unsupported ride where you're going to have to stop and fill your water bottles? So the less often you have to stop, the faster you ride.
Yeah, so if you have any insight, I'd appreciate that in the comments or send me a message. So let's go ahead and turn this off, even though we just looked at it. Menu. Yep, didn't break any records there. Yeah, heart rate didn't really drift at all. It's kind of stuck to what my power was all the way through. So, yeah, not bad. I like that 5.6. Is that what that said? 5.6 slices of pie? 5.7 slices of pie. So, yeah, maybe I'll get to go to Danny Boy's and get one of those Chicago style with pepperoni. Good eating. Probably not, but yeah. So thanks a lot for joining me tomorrow. BASECAMP group ride, 10 a.m. If you have a trainer, log on to ZWIFT and come join us. It's a free ride right up there in the upper right corner under upcoming events. Look for BASECAMP right around 10 o'clock or before 10 o'clock tomorrow morning. Click on it, join it, and come ride with us for free. Either way, whether you're going to ride with us or you just want to watch, make sure to come back here and watch the video and, entertain me with some comments. So thanks a lot for joining us. I look forward